Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about Unit 9, the um, writing assignment for applied critical analysis. A lot of times we call this an ethical paper because we're looking at how well an article does what it says it's going to do. And you have some choices. You choose one, excuse me, choose one of the reading selections. And you're going to write a multi-paragraph essay identifying the author's thesis and purpose, briefly summarizing the selected reading, and evaluating the author's success or lack of success in supporting the thesis and satisfying his purpose for writing, or hers. Again, avoid the fallacies and that kind of stuff, but make sure that you're also going to integrate some in-text citations. There are, I think, 3 of the foundations exercises for Unit 9 are about using MLA properly. Make a stab. Okay, you have to have some citations in there. So your essay, you need an introduction that is attention grabbing, reveals your argument, put your thesis there. Remember, this is not a murder mystery. You don't have to save who done it until the end. Tell us what you're going to do, and then do it, and then basically tell us what you did. So the essay should briefly summarize the claim in your chosen article as you discuss its message, and then move on to evaluate the article's thesis, the main claim, its delivery and structure, purpose, overall impact, use of evidence, and strength of reasoning. It is important to know that this goes beyond summary, but you have to have a good summary to get started. Okay, so your second paragraph, the one right after the introduction, should be a summary of the article so that your reader can follow the rest of your argument. Okay, so make sure you have enough information in the summary that we know what you're talking about and whether or not we can trust you on that. The other thing is, if you don't say it in the summary, you can't use it in your paper. Okay, so keep that in mind. You are deciding, explaining whether or not the author did an effective job presenting his or her message to the intended audience. The information you include needs to show and support this opinion. This means each paragraph should be an evaluation of the author's success or struggle with the article's message and or construction. You will also need to include segments from the text in your essay as evidence to prove your point. So you're using this particular article, the one that you've chosen, as your evidence. So if you're saying that this writer was disorganized, well, then you need to show from the article itself how they were disorganized, okay, where they were disorganized. In all, you have 6 paragraphs. You should have an introduction that's attention getting, reveals your argument, put your thesis there, 4 body paragraphs, each focusing on a different part of your critical analysis, and a conclusion that offers some memorable final thoughts on this essay. Make sure that you're working on focusing on the author's message. Your second body paragraph will focus on analyzing the article's foundation. The third will focus on analyzing the article's structure. And the final body paragraph will focus on analyzing the article's overall purpose and impact. And then you need your intro and your conclusion. Make sure that you are using good transitions, links between the paragraphs, and that you are reading this out loud before you hit submit. Okay. We do have the same kind of grading rubric that we've been using the whole time. Make sure that you walk through that before you write your paper, or maybe once you've done a draft and you can kind of look at it and say, okay, I have this and this. Oh, but I need to do that. Okay. It's always okay to edit, right? Go back and edit. Make sure that you're reading your work out loud, slowly, not so that you can make it sound like your own speech, but so that you can find any place where maybe it's less than clear or you have the wrong verb tense or something like that that makes it a little awkward for your reader. Most of the time when we're typing things up, we don't realize that we've skipped a word or whatever. But when you read it out loud, you can find those things. And that's the first step in being a good editor of your own writing. And we have to do this a lot, not just in college, but once you're on the job front and all of that too. You don't want to send stuff with mistakes in it to your boss, right? So make sure that you're reading it out loud, learning what your own errors are and how things work together. So this particular paper is a critical analysis. And so that doesn't mean you have to be mean. Critical is not the same thing as mean. Critical is thoughtful. Okay. Make sure that you've read carefully the article. I would always encourage you to read it twice. The first time just to read it, the second time to annotate, mark it up, make sure that you know what the main points are, which order they go in for the summary, and then look for things that you're going to talk about in your paper. How well do they do with um, their own purpose? If they tell you they're going to inform you about this new way of doing something, is it a new way of doing something? Is it something that they say they're going to do and then they never talk about it? Happens to all of us occasionally. And we need to make sure that what we're seeing, what we're reading is actually what's on the page. So keep that in mind as well. If you have questions, you know how to get a hold of me. You have my email. Bye.